Today we're gonna talk about yoga as a means of mindfulness, physical culture for well-being. Yoga is a concept in Indian culture in a broad sense, meaning a set of various spiritual, mental, and physical practices developed in different directions of Hinduism and Buddhism and aim at managing mental and psychological functions of the body to achieve an elevated spiritual and mental state by the individual. To clarify many erroneous perceptions of yoga, we have decided to provide cultural and historical input before describing the practical side. Well-being is not only for the body but for intellect as well. Word yoga means in transformation for the ancient Indian language Sanskrit union, correction, unity, harmony. In understanding the complete harmony of physical health and moral and spiritual beauty of a person, yoga is a set of methods that contribute to the formation of a whole personality, harmoniously combating the three principles of a person: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Even physical exercises alone lead to profound changes that go far beyond the work of muscles alone, since the body is a single interconnected system. Yoga, from the point of view of physical culture, is considered a system of physical breathing and meditative exercise, and it is actually also interconnected with physical and spiritual improvements of a person. The main areas of yoga are Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Power Yoga, and Kaha Yoga. In the context of Hindu philosophy, yoga is understood as the system of Raja Yoga set out in Yoga Sutras, Patanjali, and closely related to the fundamental principles Samkhya. Yoga is discussed in various Hindu scriptures such as Veda, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Gahta Yoga Padipika, Shiva Samhita, and Tantras. The ultimate goal of yoga can be completely different, from improving physical health to achieving moksha. Outside of Indian, the term yoga is often associated only with Katha yoga and her asanas, physical exercises which do not reflect the spiritual and and mental aspects of yoga. One who studies and practices yoga is called yogi. Big statues in Bangalore depicting mediator Shiva. History of yoga. The history of yoga goes back to ancient times. On several seals found on the river valley and related to period Indian civilization, figures are depicted in meditative or yogic postures. These archaeological finds point to possibility that the population Harappan civilization practiced one of the ancient forms of yoga or a ritual related to it. The concept of yoga was firstly mentioned in the oldest monuments of Indian literature, Rig Veda. It is believed that yoga developed from ascetic practices, tapas, which are mentioned in early comments of Vedam Bahmanach. In the Bahmanach, in particular, in Stapatha Bahmin, there are ideas of unity of the mind, body, and soul with the absolute. At Upanishad, the early mentioning of yoga meditation can be found in Brihadanyaka Upanishad, one of the oldest Upanishads, dates by ancient in 21st century. The main source which reflects the development of concept of yoga are so-called middle Upanishads. In the Yoga Sutras, yoga was described as one of the schools Hindu philosophy. This early school of yoga was retrospectively known as Retroim Raya Yoga in order to distinguish it from other later schools. Indian civilization. On several seals discovered during excavation of the river valley, dating from the period of 3,300 to 17,000, images of people in meditative and yogic postures were found, engaged in type of ritual practices, possibility an ancient form of yoga. Of all artificials, Harappan culture, archaeologists like Grigory Posel identify 16 specific figures in yogic postures. According to the scientists, they indicate that the inhabitants of the Harappan civilization were engaged in ritual practices of yoga and meditation. At the same time, images in yogic postures were found not only of people, but also of deities. Researcher and professor Egbert Richter Ashkenas points to the connection of Harappan artifacts with Vedas, in particular with Rig Veda and Atharva Veda. The most famous of the Harappan yogic images is the seal of Pasupati, discovered by British archaeologist John Marshall, who believed that it depicts of the ancient form Shiva. Some scholars, however, question the ideal that the Pashupati, lord of animals, depicted on the seal represents the figure of Shiva or Rudra. Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. In the Indian philosophy, yoga is called one of the six orthodox psychological schools Hinduism. The psychological system of yoga is closely connected with the school Samkhya. According to the teaching Patanjali, the yoga schools accepts the psychological and metaphysical aspects of Samkhya philosophy, and comparison with Samkhya is more thesis. An example of theistic nature of yoga is the fact of adding the drive being to the 25 elements of a Samkhya being. Yoga and Samkhya are very close to each other. On this occasion, Max Muller said that the data of philosophy are colloquially called Samkhya with God and Sankhya without God. The main texts of the yoga schools are called Yoga Sutras. Patanjali, who is also considered founder of yoga philosophy. It is also considered to be a mind control. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali also form the basis of a system Ashtanga Yoga, eightfold yoga, which is defined in the 29 Sutra of the second book. Ashtanga Yoga is a main distinguishing feature of almost all modern variations Raya Yoga. 8 steps or levels of Ashtanga Yoga. Pit, it is principle of interaction with the external environment. Niyama, principles of interactions with the internal environment. Asana, unification of mind and body through physical activity. And pranayama, a control over prana, life energy through special breathing practices. Pratyahara, withdrawal of a sense from contact with other objects. Dharana is purposeful concentration of the mind. Dhyana is meditation, internal activity that gradually leads to samadhi. And samadhi, a peaceful, super conscious state of blissful awareness of one's true nature. Sometimes they are divided into four lower or four higher level, of which the lowest are compared with Hatha Yoga, while the highest stages belong to specifically to Raja Yoga. Bhagavad Gita. The term yoga is often used in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita describes yoga as a control of mind, the art of action, the realization of the high natures of the soul, Atma, and the transcendence of the Supreme Lord. Bhagavan Krishna teaches that root of all suffering is the mind arouses by egoistic desires. The only way to stop the flame of desire is control the mind through self-discipline while engaging in elevated spiritual activities. Abstaining from activity, however, is considered as an undesirable as over-involvement in it. According to the Bhagavad Gita, the highest goal is to liberate the mind and intelligence from material activities and concentrate them on the spiritual level through the dedication of all actions God. Kata Yoga. Kata Yoga is one of a system of yoga described Shyatmarama in work Kata Yoga Pradipika, compiled in India in 15th century, as well as in numbers of other texts, including Gheranda Samhita and Shiva Samhita. Gata Yoga differs significantly from Raja Yoga of Patanjali. It focuses on Shatkarma, purification of the body, leading to the purification of the mind, and prana, of life energy. Kata Yoga gives further development to the seated yogic postures, asanas, Raja Yoga of Patanjali, adding gymnastic yogic elements to them. Kata is currently yoga in its many variations. Is the style of yoga? This kind of style of yoga is commonly associated with the concept of yoga. Yoga exercises. Pose of warrior designed to speed up metabolism and burn calories. Standing step forward while one leg should remain straight and the lower leg bent to form a right angle with the floor. Putting your palms together, raise your hands. The gaze during the asana is directed to the thumbs. You need to maintain the position for at least a minute and then change legs. 36 1690 exercise for the press. Lying on your back, stretch your legs, then raise them above to the floor so as to form an angle of 30. For 2 or 3 breaths, hold on weight. Keeping this interval, repeat the same steps at the angle of 90 and 60. Pose lunge. strengthens the muscles of the buttocks and thighs. It is performed as follows from the pose of warrior long. To do this, the leg push back moves over further. Hands go down and palm rest on the floor. They should be on the same level with the foot of the bent leg, having formed a deep long try to keep your balance. Downward facing dog pose is used to stretch many muscles. This pose belongs to a basic ones. The transition to it made for the long pose. The bent leg is pulled back while the body resembles the letter L. While the buttocks are considered the top of triangle, the legs are back absolutely straight, should form an acute angle. After doing the exercise, you need to rest. To do this, a child pose is used. Sit on knees and stretch your arms forward as far as possible along the floor. Yoga session, as a rule, end with asanas. Shavasana. You lie on your back, the limbs lie calmly. It is believed that the posture contributes to the greatest relaxation of the body before returning to everyday worries. It is important not to stop exercising because without constant training, the body loses mobility, begins to gain weight, accumulate fat and poisons. Therefore, having mastered the simplest asanas, one should move to the more complex ones. Exercise for gas outlets. Udina. Lying on your back, straighten your legs, inhale as deep as possible as you exhale beyond your raised right leg. Holding your breath, press your knee on the abdominal cavity with your hands. Then exhaling, slowly lower the straightened limb to the floor. Stretch your arms along the body. Legs should be straightened to the limit. Fingers look down and to the side. Do the same with the second leg. Asanas must be repeated at least 2 times. Exercise contributes not only to the removal of gases, but also eliminates back pain, constipation, and has a positive effect on the abdominal muscles. The next exercise becomes possible after training. Tilt to the legs while standing. Hands are close behind the back, legs are straight. Inhale deeply as you exhale, touch your forehead to your knees. Asanas is aimed at improving the state of the nervous system, toning the spine, abdominal organs. Asanas Cobra. Exercise is designed to regulate the work of adrenal glands, remove fatigue, back pain, makes the spine elastic, strengthen the muscles of abdominal cavity, helps with bloating. It makes sense to do this exercise for diseases of the genitourinary organs, disorder of the ovaries. When performing the asanas, you need to lie on your stomach. Raise your elbows, palms are both sides of the chest, legs together straight, toes extended. As you exhale, lift your upper body, arching your back and leaning on your hands, while the lower body is on the floor. Tilt your head back and hold your breath for a few seconds. Return to starting position is performed with a slow exhalation. To strengthen the muscles of the thighs, the removal of bloating is suitable. Lying on your stomach, stretch your arms with clutches, fists along exercise grasshopper. Body stocks are also extended. Um, the chin should touch the floor. Taking a deep breath, lift your right leg as high as possible. When the leg is up, hold your breath, then slowly exhale, lower the leg. Repeat the same actions with the left leg and then with both legs while the weight of the body falls on the chin, chest, fists. Asanas is useful for the lower abdomen, abdominal muscles and back. To strengthen the spine, remove belly fat is used asanas bow. Lying on the stomach, gasps the ankles of your legs, bend on the knees, raising both legs and arching your back. Inhale deeply, holding your breath, fixed position. As you exhale, slowly lower your legs. You don't need to press your legs to your back. They need to be pulled up. Not everyone will immediately be able to take themselves by the ankles. In this case, you can use belts for each limb separately. Exercise normalizes bowel function. Exercise flow serves to maintain the elasticity of spine, contributes a lot to the reduction of fat folds on the buttocks, thighs, and abdomen. Asanas has a beneficial effect on the thyroid gland. Levers help with arthritis, constipation, and neuralgia. This exercise is performed as follows. You lie on your back, supporting your body with your hands on your hips. Lift your leg and back, keeping your toes pointed. Inhale while exhaling. Throw your legs so that your fingers touch the floor behind your head. The knees should be straight. The position of the hands should be on hips and behind the back of the floor. Breathing deep, eyes closed. On belt on the exhale, so that the vertebra touches the floor. After your back is completely on the floor, straighten your legs with your toes so they are also straight on the floor. Also, after that, you need to take a deep breath and, of course, exhale. To reduce the volume of the waist, you can apply swaying to the side. Sitting on the floor serves as a support for the hands. The legs bent and the knees are located on the right. The hands are clasped behind the head. Taking a deep breath, swing to the body from the waist to the right side. Asanas is performed more than once. First one way and then the other. Aerial yoga, anti-gravity. Aerial yoga is an evolutionary direction of classical hatha yoga. Got its name from the English aerial yoga, meaning air yoga, stretching and yoga asanas performed using a specific hammock suspended from the ceiling. For aerial yoga classes, no special training or acrobatic dexterity is required. Aerial yoga, in addition to physical exercise, includes a whole range of breathing practices. The blood is enriched with oxygen, which has a positive effect on the general conditions and well-being, calms the nervous system, and has a beneficial effect on the quality of sleep. The benefits of aerial yoga are also obvious for people suffering from asthma. Now we want to illustrate various yoga exercises with a set of instruction video, yoga, health, and stretching. yoga and aromatherapy.
Мы капаем на левую ладошку, растираем правой, делаем домик, вдох, я, выдох, полна решимости, выдыхаем, вдох, я, становлюсь яркой и смелой, и просто вдох. И опустили ладошки, намасте, выдох. Настраиваемся на занятие сейчас. Прокрутили плечики, да, уже полные такой ясности в уме, потому что масло лимона расширяет наши сосуды, активизирует клеточки мозга. Делаем выдох. 4 пятерочки, вдох, раз, 2, 3, 4, 5, задержка, 2, 3. Выдох, шагаем правой левой ногой. Лавочка. Смещаем плечи чуть-чуть вперед, чтобы у вас плечи были немножко за запястье, чтобы плечи и локти были на одной линии. Ложимся, расслабление. Сдвигаем руки к нижним ребрам. Поднимаемся вдох. Собака головой вверх. И коленочки поясницы выше. Кисти под нижними ребрами. Да? И выдох, собака головой вниз. Отлично. Правая ножка, шаг вперед. Вдох. И пяточку поставили на пол, выдох. Красиво поднимаемся, можно круглой спинкой, у кого спинка болит, подниматься. Вдох. И сомкнув ладошки, постоим пару дыханий. Довернули таз вперед, раз. Плечи расслабили, горлышко. Если больно, да, что-то, можно руки спереди чуть-чуть, если там дискомфорт в плечах. 2. Открываем сердце, вдох. И с выдохом переходим в планочку. Напрягаем пресс. Смещаем плечи вперед, вдох. И аккуратненько ложимся. Вверх. И плюсневые косточки у нас тоже толкают землю, выше поясницу. И выдох, собака мордой вниз. Чувствуем, что уже теплеет в теле. Левая нога между ладошками шагает, вдох. И правая пяточка ставится на выдохе. Поднимаемся красиво, вдох. И воем Вирабхадрасана один раз. Я стремлюсь к чему-то хорошему. 2. К чему же я стремлюсь в своей жизни? Сажусь глубже. Да. Открываем руки в медленный вдох. И выходим в планку, втянув все мышцы ног. Смещаем плечи чуть-чуть вперед за запястье. И опять-таки локти и плечи на одной линии. Ложимся. Сместили руки, натянули носки, собака вверх. И подтяните корневой замочек. Выдох, собака вниз. 5 дыханий. Чувствуем, как тепло бежит по телу, уже энергия бежит по телу, кровь бежит по венам. Раз.
real yoga. this was Katha Yoga. Studies resources. Here are just some resources, audio interviews that you can use and that are very interesting. Thank you. And also some articles. And also some bibliographies. And also some useful links that will allow you to understand more about yoga. So thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. Bye.